Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Converse with Dr. Sanj. My name is Sanjeev. I'm going to talk about really exciting topic, how to become a millionaire. Right? The first question would be, can anyone become a millionaire? The simple answer is yes. With a good strategy and a commitment, anyone can become a millionaire. So that's the wealth goal, right? We are going to talk about. And what I have done was I have broken down into three pillars, right? My strategy I'm going to explain using those three pillars, right? In terms of achieving your dream, getting there, building wealth. Okay, so I'm sure if you are excited and if you have come across this far, would you mind go and subscribe to my channel and give a thumbs up, like? I really appreciate that. Okay, let's crack on. Right, first pillar I'm going to talk about is the income. This is one of the most important. Why? Without an income, it's no point talking about getting there. So in terms of income, right, if you are already working full time 9 to 5, doesn't have to be 9 to 5, right? It could be any shift, but if you are working a job, right, excellent, you're already there. If you are doing a job in addition to your main job, exception, really good. Okay, and if you are doing a business, that's also really good. Okay, regardless of the job or the business you are doing, as long as income is coming into your bank account, right, we tick the box. And now there are a few things in terms of income. There are ways you can try and increase the income, right? Either by taking up a new job or doing a part-time business venture or starting a brand new business, right? As an example, if you are working 9 to 5 normal job, right, which means you got plenty of time for yourself to explore other options. Doing small things, right? Like if you take, even delivering something or, right, walking dogs as a local business or, cleaning people's driveways or a little bit more advanced, well, advanced really, but more tech-based, like, editing videos or contents or doing some tax returns, accounting, any sort of business or, side hustles you do, right, to increase your income would add up here, right, and will get you closer and closer going there. So I'm just writing 9 to 5, right, because this is your main job. And the other side hustles I talk about, doing, local business or various other things you can do online. So they all add extra dollars into your bank account to maximize your income, right? And if you could also start up a small business while working up your main job, that's phenomenal. Because what you are doing is you are building something, right, which has the potential to scale up, but still you are getting the main income by working your job, right? You can build it up slowly. However, as the time goes on, with your commitment and all sacrifices, right, this will become, bigger source of income, right? That's the first pillar. How can you increase the income so that you can, get closer to your dream? The second pillar, which is a savings, right? I'm talking about once you receive your income, right? So you got your necessities, right? Paying bills, as an example. If you got a mortgage on your house, of course you have to pay that. Any car loans, any bills, energy, telephone, whatsoever, right? So savings is your income, right, take away necessities. That's your potential savings. And then you don't really want to save everything, right, after paying your bills, then you wouldn't have any life, right? You need to enjoy your life as well. So other things like leisure, going on holidays, or meeting up with friends and family, or getting your doing a sport or hobby, or getting your children, right, do extra curricular activities, you still got to do them, right? The idea is, after paying the bills or necessities and your hobbies and all of sort of things, right, can we not, right, save reasonable chunk of money so that you can build the wealth? Okay, that's the first bit, right? Assuming, right, you got decent savings. It doesn't have to be big amounts, right? Everything adds up with the power of the interest and all other things, right? Every little bit, coming up here will help. Now, the second part, so I listed under savings, is the lifestyle. Why is a lifestyle? So as an example, right, like I said, you still want to enjoy your life. Let's take an example. You are going on holiday or vacation, and now you are paying some sort of money, right? Can you not research and work a little bit on to save money on the same holiday, right? It could be, slightly adjusting your days, or, booking things on your own rather than going for a, package holiday. Can you not, hire a car yourself rather than, getting it, the transport part of the package? Or can you not, book your own flights or your place, right? So that's one thing you could consider, right? Having still the lifestyle option, but saving money there. Another example would be transportation, right? Can you not review the way of your transportation, because everything adds up. However, assuming the savings bit you had before, right? The idea is to make it, bit more bigger, right? So that you are saving more towards your goal. The other thing I want to talk about is what happens if you save your money in a bank account, right? It's great. For argument's sake, let's say you could save 1K, $1,000 a month, right? It could be less, it could be more, doesn't really matter, right? The consistency is the important thing, right? No matter, how much you could save, but committing to that, consistently saving any sort of, amount you are comfortable with, right? For this example, I took 1K, 1,000, okay, dollars. That becomes 12,000 in a year, okay? So if you keep going this rate, right, in 10 years, you are left with 120K, right? If you add some interest there, right, it would take more than 50 years for sure, but close to 100 years to, get there, become a millionaire. So if you are, fortunate enough, right, to save even 1K, right, it will take longer time to get there. So needless to say, if the amount of money you could save a month is less than that, obviously it will take more time. Even if you double up your savings, right, per month, it would still take decades to achieve your dream, right? Few decades. What's the other problem? Inflation. Let's say you work really hard and keep saving money and getting, decent interest on your savings, and the power of compound interest, right, will make it bigger and bigger. and you manage to achieve, right, in several years, right, X number of years, right, you achieve that. However, this little thing here, inflation, eats up your savings. What is inflation? In simple terms, right, how fast the cost of goods and services increase, right, every month or every year. So currently the inflation rate in Western world is somewhere just below 5%, but around 3%, that level, but used to be 10-15%. So what does that mean? That, let's take simple example, loaf of bread, right? Something you buy every now and then. Let's say, for the argument's sake, it's $1, right? So this year, loaf of bread is $1. And if the inflation rate is 10%, right? Next year, the same loaf of bread would cost you $1.10. Why? Because of so many things, right? The prices go up, the services and goods, and then it doesn't stop from loaf of bread, right? It goes everywhere. Your fuel, your car, your transportation, your food, the holiday you're going on, and then the eating out in restaurants, everything goes up. So my point is, you work really hard saving your money and get there, become a millionaire, and now when you look back, right, you've done great, right? You managed to achieve that. However, the value of a million, or whatever you managed to save, right, is not worth, right, as much as it used to be when you started. And because of that, the buying power, right, is much less. So every year, the inflation goes up most of the time, and then it keeps going up and up and up. So by the time you get there, obviously, it's less valuable. So to achieve the same level of wealth, you need to have more than, what you have aimed for. So conclusion is, right, it's simple. So saving money in a bank account would not get you there, right? Unless you can save like $500,000 every year. I'm not talking about, that sort of income, right? That's clear. So that's the second pillar. Income, we covered that, right? How to maximize your income and how to increase your savings. But, right, we have a problem, which is, savings in a bank will not get you there. So that's why the third pillar is really important, which is the investment. So what's it with investment? So instead of saving your money, right, in a bank account, what you do is you invest in diversified, products, portfolios. In simple terms, right, rather than, investing in one thing, you just investing on multiple things. So what are the options? The first one is stock market, right? That's one option. Stock market or financial markets, right? What you do is, with the help of, financial advisor or broker, right? What you do is you go and, buy stocks or bonds of a certain company or companies or government bonds, right? That's the first option. So why is it different from, say, keeping money in the savings account? Usually financial markets beat the interest rates you receive from a savings account. So if you take historical examples, right? I'm not saying every year, but if you look at the historical data and the average, the growth of S&P 500 in the US or FTSE 100 in the UK or any other, market. So the growth is around 10%, which is much higher than the interest rates. If you invested like $1,000, right? On average, you should be able to, increase that to 1,100. So that's the idea. Like I said before, right? It doesn't happen all the time. The value of investment can go up or down, right? But historically, they do very well, and the financial markets beat the interest rates given by paid by banks. Here's a disclaimer, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, you should make your own decisions by consulting your financial advisor or by doing your research. I'm just explaining these things. Okay, you should not take my advices, and then take actions without researching or consulting your financial advisor. So that's the disclaimer, right? It's out now. That's the first investment option, financial markets. The second one is also very important, which is the real estates, residential houses, right? Or commercial properties, like the high street commercial properties where you can rent out to businesses, banks or supermarkets or restaurants, anything. And then the second one is the residential, where you can buy properties, right, buy to let, and then rent out to potential tenants. That way, right, you are achieving two things. If you are doing very well, right, you could achieve two things. First, right, you can make a profit, right, regardless of how big or small, right. And then important thing is, because the property market, the value of property, right, the average value of property, most of the time goes up, and again it beats the interest rates. As an example, you might see on the news that last month, right, whatever the banks, they publish data, and then it suggested that the growth of house prices is 4%, 5%, 8%, 10%, 12%, right? So that's another option. I'm going to bring you more videos to cover these areas, but I'm just touching the surface of this, just explaining the options you got. Another thing I wanted to touch upon, which was the in the financial markets, in addition to the stocks and shares, there are other options like indexes. Rather than you go and make the decisions yourself and spend money and time on them, you could invest in kind of in indexes, right? The idea is that you get someone to work on, right, the investment and work for you. You may have to pay a fee, you may not have to, but the idea is it's passive income, right? Passive investment. You go and invest and then just forget about it, really. Other than time to time you review and make adjustment. Otherwise, you are not actively investing there. Okay, that's the indexes, and there are other options as well. So we covered the financial markets and real estate, and there are plenty of other investment options. I'm not going to cover most of them because these are simpler. Another example would be investing in startup companies, right? As an individual investor, or becoming kind of an angel investor. The idea is you see someone working on building a really good, valuable product, right, as a startup, and then you invest money. When it becomes the next big thing, one of the next big things, right, you could reap the value of the growth. If I give you examples, right, the WhatsApp used to be a small startup, and then eventually it was sold to Facebook for staggering 16 billion, right? So the people who invested in there, right, would have got much bigger return on investment. So it doesn't have to be the WhatsApp like large things, but there are so many other options. I just wanted to touch on, investing in those companies, tech companies. As a third one, there are more options. However, I'm going to stop here. I'm sure you got the idea, right? Coming back to the conclusion, right? We talk about, how to become a millionaire, whether or not anyone can, become a millionaire. The answer was yes, right? Then we broke down the strategies, right, into three main pillars: how to increase your income, and then savings and changing the lifestyles, so that you can increase your savings. And then we discussed that, investing your money is the best option for you to, get there in a short period of time. Right. That's it for today. Until I meet you and see you on another video, I'm going to say bye. Enjoy your time.